Hello, this is Becca from Willow Hill Designs and welcome. Today I'll be sharing a little bit more progress on my still life for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery project that we're working on, and I hope everyone is either warm and cozy or nice and cool wherever you are, depending on your climate. It's very cold today. There's lots of snow out there, and I love winter. I love the snow and fires, but I hope you're comfortable wherever you are, depending on your climate. But today, before I share my piece and where I am on it, I thought I would share quickly that this little find that I managed to get a hold of this weekend. My daughter and I had gone to a quilt shop about an hour north of here. I thought I would try this woman. She does long arm quilting. It's two sisters that own the shop, and so we went up there and I brought two quilts in. I didn't bring a third one because I wanted to see how her work is. And so on our way out, after picking out our designs and our thread colors and everything, our quilting designs, we were on our way out, and my daughter noticed this kind of a large bowl in the foyer where you come in, and it had a little sign that said free on it. And my daughter said, "Mom, look at this." So we went over and we were looking at the little different things that were in the shop, some related to the shop, some not. It was a very nice shop, had loads of beautiful fabrics and sewing machines and embroidery supplies. Really a nice shop. And so we were looking, and we saw this little ceramic poodle that was very Christmassy looking in the prettiest little box. And I said to my daughter, "Gee, I'll bet Jenna would love that." And she said, "Yes, I think I'll take it for her." And then I had seen a baggie of threads there. And this was the baggie. This had all these tags in it and was filled with thread. And I had never really been to I've never been to a thrift store or a Goodwill store. We did have a Goodwill store near us, but they left. I've never been in one personally. That probably sounds weird, but I always thought that, maybe the things in there are for people who are going through a really difficult time, and didn't want to take anything away from there that people might need who are going through difficult times. So, but I have gotten threads and things from flea markets and antique stores, little antique shops. But generally it's just for display because, as quilters we're taught that they may be compromised. The thread may not be strong. It may be, might have dry rot or something. Excuse me. So, but this was a bag that looked like it had all new threads, and the tags say silk on them. Excuse me, pardon me. And so this was what was in that baggie. All of these threads were in there. And the tags, let's see, there were 3 of the skeins that hadn't been touched at all. These 3 colors, which would all come in handy for different whatever. But this silk thread is called Vineyard Silk Classic. Excuse me, I've never heard of it personally, but it's 100% silk, 30 yards on these skeins. And all of this was in this baggie. So look at all the beautiful colors that are here that were in this bag. And they were kind of all in here just loose. Just, however she took them off the card or out of the skein, and they were in there loose, most of them together, but in a loose fashion, nothing rolled up or. So I just cut up some cardstock. I didn't even take any pretty cardstock. I just took white. But look at all the colors that were in there. all these very pretty colors. And I just thought, oh my goodness, and free. So I felt a little bad. I felt a little guilty taking them. I mean, it was a nice big bag of all these colors. And I just thought, okay, well, I'll just roll them all up, and so that when I want to use a color, they'll be easy to get to. And I did take some colors out that I thought might look nice with my, oh, sorry for bumping the camera. I took some colors out that I thought might go nicely with my piece that I'm working on. So these are the colors that I just kind of kept out. I think these two are the same color. I could have probably put them on the same card, but I thought that those would work nicely with what I'm doing. So for $5.80 a skein, and I mean, I think this is probably all the many colors that were in there. There were several, probably 20. And there was a long length of floss. I'm not sure if it was DMC or Anchor, so I took that out. And there was also this Neon Rays, which is for needlepoint, long stitch, cross stitch. It's rayon and a metallized polyester. So this is a ribbon, and I thought that was interesting if you're doing a snowy scene or something maybe to do with Christmas or a holiday. I thought that was kind of interesting. So they were also in this bag as well. I guess they'll probably, I'll wrap these up around a card as well, so they will go in this box. I have my other, what I call fancy flosses, in another box, but that one is full. So these, I just thought that that was a providential find. That was very unexpected. And I was just thrilled. I was thrilled when we got up to the car. I said to my daughter, these are all silk threads. I was just thrilled. So, and they're not a really, really thick thread, but they're substantial enough that I think that they'll add some nice texture to our florals in this project. So let's see, let me get my project here. Here's my project. This is what I've put together so far. And you can see that these colors will probably go with the flowers in this. Maybe I'll put in some orangish berries, maybe this green, not sure if that's gonna work. This, I think I would put this in the center of this flower. So, I mean, what a nice find. So this is what I have come up with for my vase. Excuse me. And I just cut these flowers out of several different fabrics. Let's see, I think maybe this large one came out of this fabric. I used pieces of this for some of these roses here. And I think I don't know if I used a piece of, yes, I did. I used a piece of that there. And I used some of this here. This was cut out. And I did cut out one of these flowers, but when I put it up on my design wall, it wasn't very, it didn't really stand out the way I wanted it to. It wasn't very bright. But I did use a lot of these leaves, and I did use the rosebuds on this fabric. I loved this fabric, so a lot of these leaves are also in here. I also used this fabric for the white or kind of off-white flowers here, like a star flower, and I thought they were interesting to scatter around. And I also cut out some berries from this fabric. I thought that contrast, that rich red kind of did something for the bouquet. And I also used this fabric. I used some of the flowers in this. Let's see, I used this one, and I used this one also from this fabric over here. So there's just a variety from the fabrics, and as you can see, I used some of these leaves too. I love these leaves. I think they're very pretty. So some of these leaves were used also in this arrangement. And one tip that, if I could give a tip, if anyone hasn't maybe started cutting out their flowers yet or not, when I was cutting out the flowers from this fabric, this was the very first one I went to, I noticed that cutting them out, it was kind of difficult. The fabric was very flimsy and flopped all over. It wasn't like cutting paper. It just wasn't substantial, really. And I used the little micro serrated scissors, the Karen K. Buckley scissors that have the micro serration on the edges, which really, you know, it does a nice job of cutting out finely when you need to. But even then, it was still a little difficult. So what I did was I just ironed some fusible to the back, fusible interfacing to the back of my flowers. I don't have those flowers here. I had some extras left over. But any fabrics that I decided I wanted to use, I would just cut out, you know, roughly cut out a piece of the flowers or the berries. And then I would place them on some fusible interfacing lightweight, and then just press them with, I would use the silicone sheet so that that glue didn't stick to my iron or to my ironing surface. So once I had the interfacing on there, that really made the cutting out so much easier. So that is a little tip that I would give that was helpful. And the other tip also that I would give, let's see, I think I have a design board here I can lay this on. The other tip I noticed, which I found out rather late in the process, I haven't finished stitching down all the flowers. I think I have just the leaves left to do now. But when stitching the edges, like doing a whip stitch around the edges, I found that there was still a lot of fraying going on, even with the interfacing on there. You can kind of see that white edge there. And let's see, yes, this flower is stitched down. So see, even here you can kind of see fraying here at the edges. So I found it works out a little bit better if you just do a running stitch along the edges, and you don't, like here I did seem to do it on the edges, but over here I didn't. I used a running stitch, and same thing with the berries, and it seemed to work out a little bit better. I didn't get as much fraying. But that's, I don't know, of course, how your fabric might be. These little tiny flowers, I didn't try to do anything on the edges. I just went in to the center with just a little straight stitch on those. This little guy, I think, still has to be stitched down. Yes. This one's stitched down. These are stitched down. I think it's mostly just the leaves that are left here. So that's kind of a, if you'd like to try it, to try instead of whip stitching around the edge, because it does seem to split the fabric at the edge, as to just do a running stitch close to that edge. It seems to work out better. The other thing was, and my piece is really small compared to many have 36 inches and larger. This is 18 by around 22, maybe 21 and a half. I found that trying to get in there to stitch, to hold your fabric and get in there and stitch, I was getting things sliding, even though they were pinned, and in some cases I glued. They were sliding, moving, and there was puckering. There's a lot of puckering going on here, which was kind of hard because as you're bringing it in, it crumples up. And did I miss that edge? Oh yeah, I missed that little edge there. So there is puckering on some of these. So what I did to kind of combat the puckering was I just did some little straight stitches in some of the areas to make it look like the rose was a little bit dimensional. And so that kind of helped. But I thought, of course, a lot of that puckering can be done away with when we do our thread painting on top of it. And here's another flower where I finally learned stitching along the edge with a running stitch was much better than stitching into the edge with a whip stitch, which seemed to kind of make that fabric fray a bit. So this seemed to work out better with the running stitch, very close to that edge. And I did put fray check on these edges when I saw how badly, you can see it here, how this has frayed a bit. So just a little hint there. I think like on this one I did the same thing. I made some stitches in here in the interior just to kind of take up the puckering. Another thing that puckered quite a bit was these books. And I was using some silk thread on here and some 50 weight cotton, finer cotton thread. But these books were very puckery. And so what I did was just come in with a straight stitch. This was all puckered up here on top. This was puckered. And down here, this was puckered. Because when I stitched these on, it kind of pushed these, and I stitched this leaf on, and it was kind of making these guys pucker up. So I stitched down between the books here in this black portion, and then I did stitches, just little tiny invisible stitches here and there, and it seemed to, you can see there's still a little bit of not puckering, but this is kind of bumping up. But that's not bad. It looks dimensional. Up here it was very puckery. So just doing some little straight stitches seems to take care of the puckering and ease it out. So that helped me. I found this to be hard to stitch these flowers, and I finally just found a method of putting it on my lap and kind of leaving it like this. And I put my right hand underneath and put the needle up with my right hand, grabbed it with my left, went back down. So a lot of it was a stab stitch, even for around the edges or for the running stitch. And it was time consuming. I didn't want to put a hoop on this because I thought I would maybe harm the lace here on the edges. And of course this is frayed fabric. And I just thought it might kind of ruin the rest of it, so I didn't put it in a frame. So that helped me to find a way to kind of just prop it up a little bit and then stitch. And rather than go back and forth with my right hand down, up, down, I just put one hand underneath, the other hand on top, and worked that way, passing the needle back and forth. So maybe that will help someone else who's finding that to be a little bit difficult too. Thank you very much for the suggestion of the doily here for the valance. I love that idea, and I loved softening that up a little bit. I wanted to keep it rustic, but I do love this here. I think that looks very pretty. So that's all stitched down. I did keep the books in. Those are stitched down. And I'm thinking of putting maybe a little piece of something going across here to look like a rod. Let's see. I don't know if I have anything right here handy. Let's see. Of course, this isn't the right color, but I may take some sort of a yarn or something, and just possibly put something across there, couch something down. I may actually take a branch from outside. I may take a tiny little thin branch and put something on that as well. Rather than the thread, I may use a little branch there to look as if it's a rod for this. We've done that in different places in our house, and I love the way a branch looks with something coming off of it. So I may stitch on a little branch if I find a little fine one that's straight enough. So that's a thought there. And the other thing that I couldn't resist doing was, oops, sorry, banged the thing. I made a little cover for the ginger jar, and I just drew up a little shape. And again, this has the turned edges. I wanted that to be like this. And so I'd like to put this on here. I put a little rose down here. This isn't stitched down yet, but I thought it might be interesting to have a little flower that fell down here on the table. And I'd like to put this ginger jar cover down here somewhere on the table, but I don't know what our other prompts are and if that will take up too much room. So I'm thinking of putting that little ginger jar cover here, and I ultimately would like to put, let me see if I have it here. Let's see, I have another little bird in with my things. I was thinking I'd like to put this little guy sitting on the cover. Maybe not. Maybe he could be even over here somewhere. Just a thought, something I was thinking of doing, or maybe not. Maybe he'll go somewhere on something over here. But so that cover, I'm saving that for now. I'm not going to put that on just yet. So we'll have to see. Oh, there's an egg on this little bird. I also would like to put an egg in here somewhere. Maybe here near the books. I love that. It makes me think of Marjolaine Bastion, her kind of style and designs. And the other thing that I would like to do is I have this crinkled seam binding, and I was thinking I would like to, I've made these little crinkly flowers before, something like that. I'd like to insert them somewhere along here. I'm not sure about that color, or I could use this color. I would just stitch this together just in a little kind of dimensional flower, something like that, and maybe pop those in the bouquet. I'm not sure. There's also this pretty kind of an indigo color. I'm not sure if this will go with my colors here, but it might be a nice pop of color that almost looks like a ribbon rose if you get it just right, which I can't seem to do, but maybe that color might look pretty. Oh, I kind of like that. That's kind of a nice little pop of something interesting. So I may do that. That's a thought to add to this, and also to give it some texture. So I think that's it. I have extra books here that I had cut out. I was going to use those, but I kind of liked these colors. Would be interesting maybe to have some more books over here with something on them. Maybe that little bird. It's hard because you don't have that surface that would be the surface of the book, but we'll have to see. That could even be next to the window. Could be more books in the picture. So there's really so many things open to us at this point, but I'm rambling on. So I will finish stitching everything down with just my little needle and thread. I'm using those black gold needles, and I'm just on the leaves, and then I'll go and begin the thread painting. And I won't be thread painting all the flowers, just some here or there. So that's where I am right now. And I'll just give you a little close-up of my bouquet. I can slide this down so you can see the valance that I've put up here. I'd really like to find a little branch to go across here. I think that would be really cute. And I liked these flowers here. They gave just an interesting little pop of something there with these. And the berries. I liked the berries. Matter of fact, I might add another berry or two on here. So that is it, and my little cover will be added at some point. That'll be added maybe here, maybe the egg. So this has been fun so far. I'm enjoying this. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I'm wishing you many blessings, and bye for now.